Okay, we're going to look at some other types of sources that you might be interested in using other than the ones that come from the databases on the library webpage. And I want to give you some ideas about how to evaluate them. So the first one we're going to look at is called the Christian Science Monitor. And I've intentionally chosen one that you might be suspicious of because it has the word Christian right in its name. This is actually a great newspaper, but there's a reason to think, I don't know about this. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this, this particular newspaper's page, and we're going to see for our purposes if this is good enough publication. Okay, so when I look at this page, I can scan the headlines here, how Donald Trump fits into this, one town's quest, police worry about Trump's sanctuary cities with wall, Trump begins to reset America's role in South Africa, Black equestrian works to clear apartheid's lingering, sports hurdles. Okay, so I can see that this has a variety of types of stories. They're not only political stories, they're all kinds of stories. And when I look at the page, it looks pretty good, pretty professional. But I want to know more, and so I'm going to scroll down and look for an about section. Okay, so when I get to the bottom, I click on about in order to see what's going on with this publication. When I click about the Christian Science Monitor, and it tells you some things here, our perspective, okay, so all of this looks good, our voice, okay, but see, I can see that one of the first questions here is the Monitor a religious publication? And it gives an answer that it was owned by a church. I've scrolled through this and I found some more things. One thing that I found is that it says it publishes only one religious story in each publication, and that it's clearly marked that that's a religious story. Other than that, it doesn't seem to have much religious. It's simply owned by a historically religious organization. I also found on this About page that this is an award-winning publication, and I found out that it's over 100 years old. So all of this makes me feel like this is probably an okay source. And then when I clicked on one of the articles in this, here's some more stuff that I need to know. Before I know if I can use this in my paper, one of the main things that I need to know is, does it have an author? And it does. Does it have a date? And it does. Okay. One more thing that's telling me some information here is that this says cover story, which tells me that that this also has a print version. And so all of that's making me feel pretty good about this publication. So since I have that information, I'm ready to use this article in my paper. If you have questions and you're not sure if a publication is a good one or not, just ask. Okay, so let's look at some other possibilities, things that might happen. Okay, so another thing you might use is Wikipedia. So I started by doing French hijab law because maybe that's going to be my topic for my persuasive essay. And one of my first hits is this from Wikipedia. And so I'm going to check it out. Notice when you go to Wikipedia, there is no author and there is no date. And therefore, we can't use this source for our research paper. However, when I scroll through this, I find lots and lots of information and lots of links. So if I want to use this information, let's go down to the bottom here. If I want to use the information here, what I need to do is follow up some of the links that are provided here. So I'm certainly not discouraging you from using Wikipedia. I'm just telling you can't take your information directly from Wikipedia and cite it in your persuasive essay. Wikipedia is a great place to start your research. Now, in order to compare these two, both useful, but one of them directly useful for my paper, I want to compare it to one that's going to be a bad source of information. And so in order to find one that I'm pretty sure is terrible, I actually looked up the Wikipedia page for list of fake news websites, and I intentionally went looking for one that was fake. And here's one that I came up with. This is called AmericanNews.com. Okay, and when I look at it, okay, it looks pretty professional. but let's check out some red flags here. When I look at the headlines, Secret Service reveals she would not take a bullet for Trump. Look what happened next. Obama's last dirty $221 million deal. Traitor Shep Smith loses everything for trying to smear Trump. Matt Damon risks everything to take his massive stand for Donald Trump. Trump has had enough, kicks Border Patrol chief. What I've noticed here is that all of these stories seem to be political, and they all seem to be one-sided. It also uses some inflammatory language that doesn't really have a place in the academic and journalism side of persuasive language. Dirty, traitor, smear. These words are loaded words that you need to, that are setting off some red flags. Now let's say I'm going to click on one of these stories and see. And another thing that I noticed, look, this is American News. It has a picture of Ronald Reagan, which is a former president, but has become a very charged political partisan figure. And with the conservative side of things in America, just love this figure. And so his picture there also raises a red flag. And when it says by American News. It doesn't give me the name of the author, and I don't see a date. So also, there's another red flag right there. My banner ads are this trashy yuck stuff. So a lot of reasons to suspect this. So if you are in doubt, make sure you ask, but also make sure you use your information that you have to assess a source.